Welcome back. The last time I saw you was this morning. I'm Father Eric Rutten, Director of Campus Ministry. This afternoon we're going to be speaking about the services that we provide for students. And it's important that you know that there are places for them to go here on campus so that they'll be cared for. I suspect you're all aware this is a Catholic university. And as a Catholic university, that impacts much of what we do. As you heard this morning from Dr. Michael Jordan, the Catholic intellectual tradition impacts our academic program. But also just the Catholic view of the human person impacts how we care for people, not just the students, but the whole community, but in a special way for our students, and we're going to talk about that in a minute here. What I want to emphasize also is that Catholic way of viewing people includes this idea of the human person as a unity of mind, body, and spirit. Those three portions, which you can't really do away with any of those. You need all three of those. Mind, body, and spirit impacts a kind of a holistic view of how we relate to the person. If you looked all the way down the quadrangle to this side, you'd see the the O'Shaughnessy Library. You'd see the academic buildings. Clearly, we have and strive for academic excellence for the mind here on campus. If you're a football fan, if you're a basketball fan, a baseball fan, if you're into sports, you know that St. Thomas also has an excellent history in sporting and athletics as well for the body. But there's another dimension, mind, body, and spirit. And so we take seriously also the obligation to provide for and care for the spirit of each person as they're here. Particularly that happens in campus ministry, but happens throughout our works as well. Think about it this way. All the development that happens at this point in your son or daughter's life, the huge, enormous change that happened in high school, and now think about that and probably times 3 or 4 for college. They're thinking about questions like, who am I? What do I want to study, but how does that relate to a career? Or maybe even on a deeper level, a vocation, a calling. How do I want to spend my life? Who do I want to hang out with? What were the friends I had in high school? What kind of friends am I going to have now? How do I handle relationships, romance, sexuality in a healthy way as opposed to unhealthy ways? All these kind of questions come down to really who am I, or who am I going to be in life? And so we want to address those questions with them. We don't want those just to lay dormant in their minds or for them to try to handle answering those questions just in their own minds. So we try to engage them, and that's a lot of what campus ministry does and a lot of what our student affairs work is here on campus, is to engage those questions. Those are Catholic questions, but it's not just that. Those are universal human questions. They're spiritual questions. So those are some of the things that we deal with. Let me briefly summarize for you, specific to my program, Campus Ministry, what are some of the things that we offer. As you'd imagine at a Catholic university, classic kind of liturgy and sacraments, but there's all kinds of other prayer opportunities, both ecumenical and even interreligious. And we have a meditation room right here in this building. So in a busy schedule, someone could take time out from their day to center themselves and to pray. Particularly for our Muslim brothers and sisters, to have that time to take that time to pray. We offer a full schedule of retreats throughout the year for different age groups or class levels for different reasons. We offer peer ministry programs, student to student. We offer service opportunities, both locally and then your break trips, over spring break where they'll go somewhere and do a service project. It's called VIA or Vision are the program names that we have for those. Service and social justice, that part of their understanding of who they are as people working for the common good is people working for social justice as well. And finally, I want to just highlight again, ecumenical and interfaith opportunities. We have a number of ecumenical retreats. We do ecumenical prayer services, particularly on Parents' Weekend. We do interreligious events such as an Abrahamic dinner program where we get students from the Abrahamic traditions to get together and not have any big, deep kind of debatable conversations, but just to have a meal, to get to know each other's names. As they're walking the quad, they can say hello to each other. That kind of stuff really changes the dynamic of campus and changes their experience here at the university. So that's some of what we do in campus ministry in attempting to meet the needs of the whole person. We have a number of offices and folks working together to take care of your students. And now I'd like to introduce to you Madonna McDermott from our health services.
Thank you, Father. I think I'll stand down here. I always kind of kid that the reason St. Thomas hired Father Eric was because he's a father, and they hired me because my name's Madonna. I have to keep on that Catholic tradition. But I met many of you in the last session, so I'm Madonna McDermott, Director of Health and Wellness here at St. Thomas. I'm also a nurse practitioner. I want to talk to you briefly about some of the services and how we're going to continue to help your students stay healthy, and if they become ill, get them back to wellness again. One of the first things I want to point out is up there, the little logo. That's brand new as of last week, that your student can now make an appointment online 24 hours a day. They can make the appointment. So it's an online scheduling to schedule an appointment, complete forms, print immunizations, and to engage in secure messaging with their provider. I know a lot of parents ask, so do you have a nurse's station at your college? Or we have a full service clinic. We have internal medicine, family practice, psychiatry, physical therapy, sports medicine, nurse practitioners. So we have a very full service clinics for your student, both on this campus, St. Paul, and on Minneapolis campus. We work very closely with, if your student has another primary care physician or provider. This is the time when many students who have pediatricians are graduating from that pediatrician, and many times then we become their primary care providers, even if it's just an episodic illness, or if they have a chronic illness that you need someone to help coordinate their care with. We work closely with endocrinologists, cardiologists, oncologists, so keep that in mind. We do have to adhere to the same laws as every other clinic in the country with the HIPAA Privacy and Security Act. Your student is now, for the most part, 18 or older, so we want to respect their privacy to their health care. If they become acutely ill, we may suggest, like, if they have developed mono or something of that sort, you know, what do you think? Do you want to get a hold of mom and dad or a parent or a guardian, or would you like me to talk with them? So we do encourage that conversation. If it's an emergency, we will be contacting you. We won't hesitate about that. The campus clinic on this campus is on the north end. It's actually in the lower level of Brady Residence Hall. So, and it's open to on-campus and off-campus students, easily accessible. Like I said, you can make the appointment online or give us a call. If they walk in, we'll try to do our best to squeeze them in and be seen, or try to get them into the first available appointment. If you have an opportunity, there's a video on our website that talks about the transition from into college as a student. You know, many times this is their first time of making their own appointment, of trying to determine, do I make an appointment or not? We have students who, oh my gosh, I woke up with a sore throat this morning, I better see somebody, to somebody who's been ill for a week and can hardly get out of bed. So helping them figure out, when do you access the clinic? Making sure that they have their insurance card. We do use third-party billing, so we'll, just like any other clinic, they come in, they give us their insurance card, we bill your insurance. If there's any other payment, like a co-payment, that comes at the end, and it would just be put on their student account. But having their insurance card is very important. If they had an emergency, it's good that they have it on them. All students here at St. Thomas are required to have health insurance if they're full-time students, and that's 12 or more credits as an undergraduate. You'll be receiving a letter to your home in about 2 weeks that will instruct your student to go online to Murphy Online. Very simple question. It's under the student health or student insurance. It'll say, do you have insurance, health insurance, yes or no? If it's yes, they just have to put in, you know, Blue Cross Blue Shield and this policy number, and that's it. If it's no, then they will be asked to purchase this or come back later after they've purchased another one. If they don't respond at all, they will be enrolled in and billed for that health insurance plan. They will get lots of opportunities. We send out numerous reminders on a weekly basis until the open enrollment closes. The insurance does cover for a full year. You might want to take a look at it. It's a very robust insurance. It's no deductible for being seen at either one of our clinics, and it's very comprehensive. Immunizations, just as in high school, your student is required to enter their immunizations online so that they have their, in this state it's just MMR 1 and 2, and current tetanus. If we don't get that, a hold is placed on for their next semester registration. So again, they'll get lots of reminders about that. If they don't have a current tetanus, we can give that, or if they are in need of any other immunizations, we can do that as well. We also have a travel clinic. In our services, we're able to do allergy shots. So if you have a student that's getting allergy shots, there's some forms that they fill out, and we can take that part over as well. So if you have any questions, we have local pharmacies here. The closest one is 5 blocks away. We do carry some medications, about 10 different types of prescription medications currently. Those are kind of the frequent flyer medications. So if it's January, it's 20 below, and your student needs amoxicillin, you know, we will give that to them and then bill their student account, you know, $10 or something. If they have a regular prescription and they need that sent to another pharmacy, you might want to have that transferred. Pro Pharmacy is just down the street, it's about 5 blocks away, so it's easy for them to transfer that, or to a Target or Walgreens nearby. Aww, a baby. And also we have a travel clinic. Most of your freshmen aren't going to be traveling this year, but next year, so we're able to give absolutely every immunization that's out there, including yellow fever, so we're a certified travel clinic. So keep that in mind for the following year. And then if there's any questions, we're going to be taking questions at the end of this section, and then again privately after this whole session is over with. So next I'm going to turn it over to Dean Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, Madonna. As Madonna said, my name is Karen Lang, and I've been at St. Thomas for 25 years now. We're going to show you a video. Now, I'm going to set you up for this because we showed this on Monday, and it's the first time that we had showed it as a video. We had done it live in the past with our student orientation leaders. And when we did this on Monday with the parents and family members, our energy in the room went from here to here. And we actually sat on the side and thought, okay, maybe we shouldn't do this video because it's pretty heavy themes. It's some of our current orientation leaders, and they're all acting. And we're going to touch base on sexual assault, on eating disorders, on depression. And so it's a pretty heavy video. And so as we sat on the sidelines on Monday, he said, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this. I talked to several parents afterwards and said, well, what did you think? And they said, no, we're glad you did it. And then I talked with our orientation leaders afterwards, and I said, how did the video go? Because they're doing a similar session right now. Your students are with their orientation leaders doing a similar session. And so I was really curious how it went, and they said it went great. We had lots of really good discussions. So we decided to keep the video in because we see you as our partners. We want you to be able to talk with your students about what college life is like, and we want you to have those open conversations to be able to support your students, let them know where the resources are on campus. So in order to do that, we want you to hear the same messages that our students are hearing. So we're gonna go ahead and, now I probably set it up to be so scary, it's not quite that scary. But we've set this up and would like you to watch it.
It happens.
It happens.
It happens.
I just never thought.
It would happen.
To me.
You need to know that like any community of 6,200 people,
you may have to face a wide variety
of accidents, crises, painful moments, and addictions.
You also need to know
that you don't need to face these things alone.
There are things that go through my head.
When I try to fall asleep,
Not that I'm getting much sleep.
It seems all I do is sleep.
I try not to sleep, to stay up late, studying more, studying harder, but it feels like I'm spinning my wheels.
There are things that go through my head when I try to sleep, like promises, like wishes, like a chance to start over again.
You need to know that the university has a wide variety of offices designed to serve the physical and mental health of our student body.
A counseling and psychological services center.
A health and wellness center.
A campus ministry department.
An academic counseling service, and a faculty that cares.
You don't need to feel alone.
There are places on this campus you can go.
I'm in the bathroom again. How do I always end up here?
One big party. That's what they call college. One big party.
And I kind of know what's happening. And then I know what's happening. And I don't want this to be happening. I can't believe this is happening.
I can't remember when it started, when I stopped going to class, when I started feeling this way.
I'm here because I want to be, because I need to be, because I need to get it out of me, even if it means throwing up.
In high school, I could get away with it. There just wasn't that much work. But college? College is different. And it's not that I'm stupid. It's just that learning comes harder for me.
And I say to him, don't, please don't. Did the sound come out? In my nightmares, the sound doesn't even come out.
One big party, except it stopped being fun a while ago. I used to drink because I wanted to. Now I drink, well, because I need to.
And then I'm done, ashamed and embarrassed. But I've beaten the pizza, or the french fries, or whatever I've eaten. I've won.
I'm reading, and the letters get mixed up. I go to an exam, and it's like I have a panic attack. The professor says, time's up, and I feel like I've just started.
So it doesn't matter what your issue might be,
Or what might have happened to you.
whether it's alcohol or drug abuse,
Sexual assault or acquaintance rape.
an eating disorder or clinical depression.
And it doesn't have to be some sort of disorder or addiction. Sometimes you just need someone to talk to.
So come talk to us. There are people who will listen.
Your resident or commuter advisor,
A professor,
a campus counselor,
a friend,
the campus ministry staff,
a safe space member,
your parents,
your orientation leader.
your coach.
They care. They will listen and help get you where you need to go.
But for now, you need to know
You don't have to feel alone.
there are places on this campus you can go.
I'm in the bathroom, and I hear a voice outside the stall say, "Are you okay?"
I've got to do something. I keep making promises that tonight, this weekend, it will be different. I keep breaking promises.
And I say, "I'm fine."
And now, well, I can't fall asleep. You've taken the world from me. It's no longer a safe place. You've taken away my trust in men, in life, in me. I don't trust me to take care of me.
And the person outside says, "Oh, it sounded like you were sick."
Who can I tell? Who will understand? I want to stop feeling like this, but I don't know how.
I can't flunk out. How will I explain that to my parents? I'm smart enough to be here. It's just I can't do this on my own.
And I said to myself, "I am."
Don't blame yourself.
Don't blame yourself.
You don't have to feel alone.
You don't have to feel alone.
You are worth taking care of.
You are worth taking care of.
There are places on this campus that I went.
That I went.
That I went.
That I went.
There are places on this campus you can go.
Well, thank you for watching this video. As I said, we think it's important to share resources as we go through the next 4 years together. There's lots of developmental changes, and you've heard a lot about these things all day today. You've heard about what kind of resources we have on campus. St. Thomas is a really special place. As I mentioned, I've been here 25 years. I was sitting in your shoes a few years ago. I have a daughter that just graduated in May from St. Thomas. I have a son who just finished his sophomore year at a different institution. And it's a big step. It's a big step for your student, and it's a big step for you. For many of you, you've been advocating for your child for the past 18 years. And all of a sudden, the messages you get today from us is, there's this thing called FERPA and HIPAA, and it's time to step back and let your students make some choices. And we know that they're going to have a wonderful experience here. We know there's times that things are going to be difficult and challenging. And that's where we want to partner with you also. So when I think about the 25 years that I've been working here at St. Thomas, and then several years at 2 other institutions before I came here, and I think about what has changed the most, it really has been the relationships that we have with parents, because we do see you as our partners, and there are times that we're going to work really closely together around issues that may come up with your students. Specifically in our office, I want to talk a little bit. Oh, we've got the public safety slide up there. But I'm going to talk a little bit about our code of conduct. You've had a chance to meet Sister Sharon in our office. Another one of our staff members, Dean Jim Sachs, is here also. Jim, if you don't mind. Just thank you. Jim works very closely with our students also. So as with any community, when students are coming to either live on campus or they're commuting to campus, of course there's going to be rules, there's going to be expectations. And we're talking with your students today about some of those rules. And when they come back in the fall, the students that are living in the residence halls will also hear about our code of conduct. What are the expectations? We know for some students, this is their first time living in a community, and there is expectations around their guidelines of living together. So we want to talk with you a little bit about that. At one of the other sessions, somebody asked, what kinds of things keep you up at night? And I have to tell you, what we worry about, just like other people in my role at other institutions, our biggest concern is around alcohol issues, as it is on every other campus across the United States. And we know that we have lots of students that come here and do not drink at all. We know we have lots of students that come here and drink responsibly. And we know we have students that come here and participate in high-risk drinking. We know some of you have had an opportunity to hear from Madonna about some of the high-risk drinking. And you're going to hear a little bit from Dan also about high-risk drinking, and also about living in the community, not only at St. Thomas, but also in our neighborhood. Your students are hearing about that also, and they're also hearing about take care of each other. When you go to parties, if you go together as a group, leave as a group. Take care, if you choose to drink, take care of your drinks. Make sure no one is slipping anything into your drink. They're going to get all these messages over and over from us. We want you to reinforce those messages. And because we know that this is a time where students might test the limits. We know if they're going to be out on their own and they're going to be making lots of decisions. And so we want to keep the communication open with you and also with us. So I just want to highlight a couple of our policies. You can go online and read our whole policy book if you want to. We hope that our students all read it. We don't know if they actually do or not, but we hope they do. But I'm going to highlight a couple of them. We do have a sexual harassment and sexual violence policy on campus. It's required by law, but even if it wasn't, it's something that we would do anyway. We also have a Good Samaritan statement, and I just wanted to briefly mention that Good Samaritan statement is something that came from students. We had students say to us, if I'm out with my friend and maybe both of us have been drinking, but I'm really worried about her because she's been drinking a lot more than I've been drinking, I want to let you know about it, but I don't want to get in trouble because I've been drinking too. So that's why we've developed with students a Good Samaritan statement, so that is taken in consideration, because our message to the students is take care of each other and let us know if you're worried about your friend. With our students today, we're also talking about bystander training. We're talking about getting very involved if you're concerned about your friend, if they drank too much, or you see them at a party and they're going off as a couple, to intervene and as a bystander. We spend a lot of time talking about that with our students, and we know that it's working because we've had students that have intervened when necessary. I also want to briefly mention the hate crimes and bias-motivated incidents policy that we have on our code of conduct also. So if you have an interest in looking up any of these policies, we certainly would appreciate it, and we will cover each of these with your students. I just want to briefly mention, because we do get questions, well, gee, what happens if my child does get caught with alcohol? So we're just going to briefly tell you a little bit about that. If a student lives in the residence hall and there's a first-time violation with alcohol, Many times parents will say, well, are we going to find out? And maybe if that happened in high school, maybe you were contacted, or if it happened out in the community, you most likely were contacted. Here what happens the first time around, if there's a student that is documented by one of our staff for having alcohol, and if it's a safety issue, you are going to hear from us, and Dan's going to talk a little bit about that. If we're not really concerned about their health, but it's a violation of the policy, what happens is a student will meet with their residence hall director or a dean of students staff member, and the first time there will be a fine. We'll ask them to watch a 3-hour alcohol responsibility course, and we've actually gotten good feedback from our students that they've learned a lot from this course. If there is a second offense, or someone is endangering themselves, we certainly will contact you as a parent or guardian or emergency contact. And sometime that might be at 3 o'clock in the morning. If we're concerned about the health of your student, we're gonna call you. Next, I would like to introduce Dan Mavison, and he's gonna talk a little bit about public safety, and then we're gonna just share some information about the neighborhood also. So Dan?
Thanks, Dean Lang. It's my great pleasure today to welcome you to the St. Thomas community. Also, I get to introduce public safety. We are also a service agent of the university. We do more than write tickets and create problems for your sons and daughters. We are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're the people that are here on Easter and Christmas Eve when nobody else is around, the campus is dead. Rest assured, my staff is here. We're open constantly. Our dispatch area is manned 24 hours a day. If they ever tell you I can't get a hold of public safety, feel free to give me the first call. Either they're not being completely honest with you, or B, I have a problem, and I'd fix either one of them. So please feel free to get a hold of me. I have the general numbers up there for a reason. We always talk about, to the students, about making really strong, sound decisions for the first 6 to 8 weeks of their life here at St. Thomas. That gets them locked in, and by that time they start understanding the climate and the culture, and they seem to do better. But the reason I do that is most of your sons and daughters now have cell phones. In fact, that's probably their lifeblood, right? When they're brand new on campus, I ask you to talk to them, have them program our numbers into their cell phone. The first number, it's in your guides too, I believe, but the first number, the 651-962-5100, that's our service line. That's the anything you want call line. That's our general number. So that's to help them get into the room. That's to answer questions. That's to direct them to the right people. That's if they're walking around at night and they see something, they want to tell them it's not an emergency, but they want to talk to somebody. Or they're looking for a contact after hours. We're very helpful with that. That's what we do. The second one is kind of the more important one, and that's the 962-5555. That's the campus emergency line. And what I bring up the cell phones for is because most students now will automatically pick up their phone and try to dial either 911 or I'm trying to tell you about the 5555 number. What happens if they're walking on campus and they call 911 from their cell phone? Their cell phone is going to connect to the Washington County dispatch area. I'm sorry, I'll stand in front. And they're going to immediately call us back. We have that kind of relationship with them. We've trained with them. We work with them. We have a routine or a procedure in play where if somebody calls 911 from this campus and goes to the police, they're calling us back. They're saying, meet us at our predetermined locations, also respond to this location. By having the 5555 number programmed in their phone, we can get there faster. We're the experts on this campus. We know where Murray Hall is. We know where Wolf is. We know where the locations are. So we have multiple people on at one time. We respond to the incident, whether it's medical or violence or something along that line. And then we have other people going to meet the 911 and escort them into the location. So if they have those two numbers programmed in the phone, they're not searching for them. They're not trying to remember what it is. They just know. And pretty much almost every student in the first few weeks or months of the school will call us for one reason or another. So, and I don't mean an emergency. I mean for a service or something along that line. My staff is highly trained. Most of my people are going into law enforcement, and they're in between. They finished their skills. They're waiting for that first law enforcement job because of who we are. And in the program we currently run, we get to kind of get the cream of the crop. So our staff is highly trained and very, very competent. Our management team has everything from the former post board, which is Police Officer Standard and Training, the director of that, to current law enforcement officers. We're very rich in our history here. Talking about reporting crimes around campus, we report all crimes. We are responsible, I'm going to drop right down to maintaining the Clery report. That's the campus crime report. I invite all of you to go to the St. Thomas website, open up public safety, go into public safety, take a look at the campus crime report. That lists all the crimes that have occurred on campus over the past 3 years. It also leaves you all of our policies and procedures and how we respond, how we handle different things. It's basically all there. I also want to invite you to take a look at on the right-hand side of it, the screen too will say something called 360 Stay Safe. And it has a number of little quick videos. There's maybe 10, 15 of them, but they're like 5 or 10 minutes, and they cover all kinds of things for new freshman students coming onto a college campus. How to protect themselves from theft, identity theft, computers. Long and the short, it covers all their questions and kind of gives them an idea how to get acclimated into a college environment where you have to remember to lock your doors when you walk out and go down to the restroom, or you have to keep your backpack with you. You want to make sure your cell phone's with you at all times. You know, simple things. We have a great campus, very little crime, but it happens. So if you can get ahead of it, that's what I'm asking, to have that conversation with them. We work very closely with the local law enforcement and fire departments. We train with them. We're in contact with them on a daily basis. And when I say we train with them, we've done everything from have them on campus responding to practice disaster drills to we host a bunch of their sessions. They also invite us for their training, so our staff gets their training as well. In the case of a true emergency, here's another thing that I'd like to talk to you about. Your sons and daughters, when they first get onto Murphy Online, are going to get pinged, and it's going to ask them to sign up for the emergency notification system for the university. The one we use is called City Watch. We are in we're kind of evaluating that, whether we change or not. Has no impact what method it is. Ours is City Watch. What it does is it boosts out emails and text messages to your sons and daughters, and can be parents if they want to add you to the list on any emergency that may occur on the campus. That's critical because that's the quick way of getting a hold of everybody. They're asked if they want to or don't want to join in on it. I cannot understand why somebody would say not, but again, if we could get your help to make sure they just check the yes box, we'd appreciate that. In the case of a true emergency, the university has multiple steps, like I said, that we've trained through, but the most important thing that will happen is the UST Cares page will pop up and take over the UST webpage. In other words, that's the emergency page that comes up, and that will give you all the information you need as to what's taking place, what are we doing, where can you get the resources to find out the information you need, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of a very global look at it real quickly. Is that my last screen, or is there another screen? We can talk about neighbors? Dean Lang?
We're going to talk just a little bit about the neighborhood. If you're not familiar with the area, if you get a chance to walk around, we really live and work in a beautiful residential neighborhood. And one of our challenges is, you'll see there's many homes, and there's families that have passed down their homes through the generations. We have lots of families with young children. So we're not like some other institutions where you have a cluster of students all living together in rental property off campus. So we have family homes. You might have 1, 2, 3 family homes, and then you'll have a rental property, then you'll have another family home. So that provides some challenges for us in our immediate neighborhood, and it provides opportunities for us to educate our students about living in a community. And so you heard me mention a little bit our code of conduct, and our code of conduct does extend off campus. So if your students are spending time in the neighborhood, which they probably will, or if they choose to live there this year or one of the other years that they're a student here, they will get to know some of our neighbors, and that's why we work really closely with them around being a respectful, responsible St. Thomas student. So I'm going to invite Dan to talk a little bit about some of our work, particularly the police involvement with our neighbors in the immediate neighborhood.
We've been doing this together for a long time, and I have to honestly say I chuckle every time she puts that nice professional spin on how that all works in the neighborhood. I'm here to give you just a little bit of a twist on that. Where you see St. Thomas plus alcohol plus neighbors equals that frowny face, that's me on Monday morning. Our neighbors are very organized, they're powerful, they're intelligent. They have a lot of political clout, and they work with the city, our city council members, the mayor, and everything else for St. Thomas to address alcohol issues in the neighborhood. On their behalf, and rightly so, they have a lot of issues that we should be addressing. It is not cool when college kids are up at 2:30 in the morning walking through their neighborhood and they're peeing and urinating on their bushes. They're throwing things in their front yard. They're kicking over their mailboxes. They're vomiting on their stairs. The list goes on, but you can see the behavior in the neighborhood has to do with a respect issue. And we ask, this is very important, and I ask that you communicate with your sons and daughters about this issue. Our students, when they come as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, in fact, they're here 9 months of the year. They're living in what I would call temporary housing. They don't have the same loyalty or the same ownership as you and I would have about the place that we're living in currently, your home or location, because it's a temporary concept. They're here to go to school. This is where I sleep. This is where I stay, but it doesn't have the same meaning. We need to drive home that they need to respect that neighborhood the same way. They can't be waking up the young kids that are ready for school at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they're up at 3:30, 4 o'clock hollering and screaming and having a really great time. We have party buses that empty out in the neighborhood. We have bars that close at 2 now, or they stop serving at 1, but they kick them out at 2. You have all these issues that require us to work with the students and the neighborhood to try to curb this behavior. And saying that, as I stated, we work very closely with the police departments and city mayors and the city council members. They are also taking action to try to prevent this problem from occurring and fix the issues that are going on in the neighborhood, and they're very serious about it. They will, on the first few weeks of the school year, they will have what we call a ZAP program out, a zero alcohol provider. The police operate basically a sting team, and they go around and they look for parties. And they bust the parties and they close them down, and they're going to cite the individuals that are underage with underage citations. They're going to break up the party. They're going to notify us of any student affiliation for the other agents or other schools and us. And they're going to go and they're going to probably cite the house if there's underage for social host ordinances. Now, your freshman sons and daughters most likely aren't the owners of the house. They're there socializing and getting to know their community members and stuff. But if there's a social host ordinance citation and the underage citations going, the university's going to know about it as well. So they're facing all kinds of fines, and it doesn't need to happen. They don't need to be doing this, and they are going to be aggressive. So, upfront notification on it. If your sons and daughters, if public safety gets involved in an incident or get called into an incident where one of your sons and daughters have been drinking and may be intoxicated, I'm different than the rest of the agencies. We work on care and safety. This is not automatic for us. There's a care and safety issue. We're going to call you at 3 a.m. in the morning. We do. I can be honest and open with you. And what we're going to say is you need to come and get your sons and daughters because we can't care for them at this time. They're intoxicated and they're underage. you need to find a place to take them. I tell you that for those of you that are outstate or out of the cities or something, so you have the opportunity to make connections and talk to your relatives or perhaps the roommates or somebody else that you can make the connection. That if we call you, we always start at the parent or guardian, whoever's on the emergency contact list, and then we communicate with you and say, hey, this is what's going on. We need to find a place for Susie or Johnny today, and we need your help in either coming to get her or telling us who's going to come and get her and authorizing that we release them to that person. Again, they're underage, and we can't keep them and babysit them that long. We have too many other resident students on campus for that time. So, did I get it?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing. Our staff work really hard, in particular on weekends, to have lots going on here that is alcohol-free. And we're so excited with these new buildings that we have because it provides space also for students to be here in a safe environment, getting to know each other and interacting, because that's really what they want. They want to get to know each other, so we're providing lots of opportunities for that. So to strongly encourage your students to stay here on the weekends and to be involved in the activities that are provided and planned by other students.
Right, now I was telling you all the enforcement issues that are going to take place. I also want to bring up the point that St. Thomas and Public Safety, we do hire off-duty police officers to work our neighborhood on weekends and busy times of the year, and that's a proactive approach too. We're hiring them to get in front of these issues and go knocks and talks and finding groups that are walking and touring around in the middle of the night and coming up to them and say, hey, be careful, this is what you're looking at, and let's stop this before it gets started. And what happens on these parties, it's very innocent starting with. What can happen is, for example, I'm going to go to my friend Jim's house on Monday night to watch the Monday night football game. On the way over to the Monday night football game, I pull out my phone and I text 4 people on the way. I'm going to Jim's. By the time I get to Jim's, the 4 people I had texted have already texted 4 more people, and they've texted 4 more people, and pretty soon Jim's got 18 to 20 people he had no idea that were going to be at his house that are now at his house. Now the cops come, and that's considered a party, and they bust it, and he's in trouble and everything else. So it's a mental thing. They have to be aware of it. And I'm just trying to make sure it's out in front of everybody and you're all prepared for some of the decisions that have to be made by your sons and daughters. This one's mine too. How lucky am I, right? I want to clarify the difference between residential students, freshmen, and commuter freshmen. Commuters can get a commuter permit. Residential students are not eligible for our parking permit. There is one exception, and I'm going to stand in front of you and tell you I do not endorse it. It's for special needs, in a sense, and it's very expensive. If for some reason there is an imminent reason why your sons or daughters need to have a car on campus as a freshman, there's a lottery that we have that we put out maybe 30 or 40 spaces that are eligible for this permit. And it's a lottery. If they're gone, they're gone. But it's $1,085. They don't need a car. I've had a daughter 2 years ago. Mine was a freshman right here. And I heard all the stories you're going to hear. They don't need to have a vehicle here on campus. There's a lot of opportunities for them. We have a UST shuttle bus that goes from St. Thomas at the Arches to downtown Minneapolis, to the Minneapolis campus. Drops you off right around the corner or right across the street. Is Target. It's one of the largest Targets you could ever see, so there's almost everything they need there. They also have access in Minneapolis to the other retail stores that they might need to get to. The ACTC shuttle bus also gets them in between different campuses, so there's opportunity for them there. We have bike rentals on campus. We have our car that's available to people. We fully endorse alternative modes of transportation. I know this is crazy, but we like bicycles, skates, rollerblades, scooters, and love walking. I want to touch base on bicycles really quickly. We have upwards of 500 to 600 bikes sometimes on a sunny day on our campus. That does bring criminals out. Bike theft is a national problem. It's not a St. Thomas problem. It's everywhere. I tell parents, I used to have this little tagline I tell them or ask them, I said, look, if you're going to send a bike find the most inexpensive, cheapest bike you can find and find the most expensive lock, and that's the best combination. I have to change that now because our patterns are showing that cable locks, no matter how good they are the ones that are getting cut and stolen from our bike racks. So if you're going to send a bike, I really highly endorse the U-lock. Okay, everybody understands. I mean, you can have a great cable lock, but they're still able to cut them with a bolt cutter, and that's what they're using. Metro bus passes are available. Taxi vouchers in case of an emergency. If your sons or daughter have an emergency, they contact us, and it's relevant or, it makes sense to us. We're going to issue them a taxi voucher to where they need to go and when to get back, and we'll deal with the cost of that later, whether we bill you or think that it's a reasonable thing for the university to pick up. But we'll work that out later. Public safety does emergency car services such as jump starts, lockouts. We help with all kinds of, minor automobile issues and stuff. So public safety responds in care and safety. So we are a service agency. Let your sons and daughters know that we're not always the bad guys. We have a lot of services we do, and quite frankly, they will in the course of their career here get to know us. Let us get to know them in a more positive way. Have them contact us early, and then it starts the ball rolling in the right direction. So, anything else?
Great. We know the parents have told us they've appreciated the opportunity during this session to have time to ask us personal questions. So we're going to do a couple fun door prizes, and then the reception is going to be right out here at 4:30. But we will make ourselves available also for individual questions. So Sister Sharon, you want to do our door prizes?
I will. What I would love for you to do is simply put your hands under the table, and there are 5 Post-it notes with tickets attached under the table. And if you would raise your hand when you find them, Dean Sachs is going to handle the distribution. There they are. They're all there.
This is 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5.
5. They're all there. You can't get more random than that.
Up front, Jim.
Right here. We have a couple of quick pieces of information to run by you, and then we'll open it more up for questions. First of all, just to ask you to compare notes about what you and your students learned today. Start those conversations we've asked you to start. Around August 1st, the orientation website will have the presentations you've heard on video. So if you want to refresh yourself on the information, it'll be there for you. The reception, as Karen mentioned, will be outside here. There will be a Mass today at 5:15 for families and guests up in the lower chapel of St. Thomas Aquinas Chapel. Just a reminder, September 1 is the move-in. There is a parents' place designed by Vice President Canny just for parents. Very lovely massage, little pampering, plus a taco bar for the entire family. And then we have Family Weekend on October 5 through 7, and so you'll be hearing more about that. So, are there any questions that you'd like to ask the group? Way in the back. What is the campus attitude toward mopeds?
Thanks. What a great question, actually. We endorse them. I mean, we do, but what's going to happen this upcoming years, there's going to be new designated moped and scooter locations because they're getting too prevalent. We have too many of them on there. So there will be new rules and locations to utilize them and park them. Not for us. As long as they're street legal or what, There's outside spaces for motorcycles that are placed. If you're a resident student and you're not a freshman, we do get you a way to get them in. There is one location in Morrison Hall that we store. I don't want to say store, that we allow motorcycles to be in. Any other transportation questions or problems? The Hour Car is a city and St. Thomas sponsored program where between the city and our neighborhood groups and St. Thomas, there's 2 cars on our campus, one on the South Campus and one on our campus that you can go online. You got to become a member of it, and then you can rent the car by the hour for the year. And I think, now the only thing I'm a little nervous about is I don't recall what their age limit is on that. So if you go online, you have to check on it. But once you sign up, and I think they give students like a free sign-up instead of an initiation fee. And then once they do that, they can book out the car just like you would a rental car. And then they just pay it by the hour. A very great program.
Well, we know that right now we've got refreshments out here, so we want to make ourselves available for questions. And we want to thank you so much for being here today. If you could Sister Sharon's we're going to have some baskets. We're going to collect your evaluation forms and name tags. You could keep the lanyard as our gift to you. And we thank you so much for spending the day with us, and we look forward to getting to know you over the next 4 years.
You'll meet your students at the reception.